Go over the veins of your leaves with a black oil pastel. This will make the veins look more prominent and noticeable. Use the side of the oil pastel that is flat and not rounded because it has already been used. Go over these vein lines with a green oil pastel. Use a more yellow-green coloured oil pastel rather than a dark green oil pastel. By mixing a green and a black oil pastel, I am creating a dark green shade. To make this leaf look more rounded, I added the yellow-green oil pastel around the edges of the leaf and near the veins. I did this for both sides of the leaf. This makes the leaf look like it is sloping in the middle towards the veins. It also makes the edges look curvy and not flat. Take a yellow oil pastel and fill in the gaps between and blend them into the green edges and the green near the veins. I decided to go over the veins with more black oil pastel to make them stand out more and make them contrast with the leaf more.
To create a separation between this leaf and the one I just created using oil pastel, I added a black shadow around the edge of the leaf. I then mixed the black into dark green, the dark green into yellow green, and then the yellow green into yellow.
On this next leaf, I once again went over the veins of the leaf with a black oil pastel. Again, I used the side of the oil pastel that is flat and not rounded because it had already been used. To make this leaf look more rounded, I added dark green oil pastel around the edges of the leaf and near to the veins. This makes the leaf look like it is sloping in at the middle towards the veins. It also makes it look like the edges are curvy and not flat. Do this for both sides of the leaves. Take a yellow oil pastel and fill in the gaps between and blend them into the green on the edges and near the veins. Go over the veins of your leaves with a black oil pastel. This will make the veins look more prominent and noticeable. Use the side of the oil pastel that is flat and not rounded because it has already been used. Go over these vein lines with a golden yellow oil pastel. Use the same golden yellow oil pastel to go around the edges and near the veins. This makes the leaf look like it is sloping in the middle towards the veins. It also makes the edges look curvy and not flat. To make the sky, I blended blue with a light pink skin tone oil pastel. I added patches of blue in random areas of the sky first. I also used a white oil pastel and blended it in with the blue and the pink oil pastel to create different tints. For the clothes, I used a combination of black and blue oil pastels. Look at your photograph. Find where the darkest areas of your clothes are and apply black oil pastel to those areas. Mix a dark coloured oil pastel over those areas. Then mix a lighter coloured oil pastel into that darker shade. Lighten up the pressure as you get towards the areas that you want to create a tint in. Next, I added white into the lighter shade of blue. If needed, go over any printed patterns with a black oil pastel. If you have dark brown skin, add black oil pastel first to the darker areas that you see in your photograph. Next, mix a dark brown into those areas and lighten up the pressure so you can mix a lighter brown into those areas after. To get the lightest shade of brown possible, mix a white oil pastel into your light brown. Mixing a skin-toned oil pastel with white oil pastels will create bright highlights. This works with any skin tone colour regardless of race. To make dark black hair look more realistic, mix black oil pastel with small amounts of brown oil pastel. Mix grey oil pastel into white oil pastels very carefully to create tones. Adding grey tones around the edges of your eyes will make them look more realistic and three-dimensional. Mix 1 or 2 shades of pink into white to create realistic lip colours. To make speculative highlights on your lips, add white oil pastel after you have finished with the pink oil pastels.